Welcome back to the South African Morning. And a big focus for the country at the moment is small businesses in the country and really how they can contribute to growing the economy. Now that the country is at level 1, it's an opportune time for those that were closed and for those that want to start up to gain momentum ahead of the festive season. But let me talk you through some of the trends that we've seen in this space over the third quarter of 2019 and the third quarter of 2020. And unfortunately, there's been a significant decline. So in the third quarter of 2019, we saw that there were over 2.6 million businesses operating in the South African economy. Then it dropped by about 11% in the third quarter of 2020. You'll remember that was the peak of the pandemic. We sat at around 2.3 million SMEs, and that's because a lot of them ran out of funding, and of course many of them could no longer operate. Now let me talk you through the formal and informal and the contribution that make. But unfortunately, the formal businesses in the country aren't as big as the informal businesses, and they also decreased quite a bit to just over 650,000 in the third quarter of 2020. And then when we look at the informal businesses, which make up a large part of the economy in the country, those also declined from about 1.7 million to 1.5 businesses operating in the country. And here's an important aspect. Let me take you through the jobs that this industry creates. The small business industry is a huge creator of jobs, and we've just shown you the quarterly employment survey earlier on in the week, and it was a dire look for the economy. In the third quarter of 2019, we had 11.5 million people employed. That declined quite significantly in the third quarter of the peak of the pandemic in 2020, about 10 million people being employed by small businesses in the country. Now, small businesses are often struggling to find funding, and this means that they're unlikely to provide services even if they win those contracts. Now, the Siyasiza Business Fund is stepping in to bridge that financial gap, and let's speak to its founder, Gabriel Mokwana, who joins me in studio this morning. And I'm very excited to be speaking to you this morning because small businesses, as I've just shown, are a huge enabler in terms of creating job opportunities for many young South Africans. So talk us through the fund and why you established it.
Good morning, Rufua, and good morning to all the viewers at home. Thank you so much for having me here today. I'd just like to start off by saying a lot of businesses have succumbed to the hard market storm. And it is for that reason that us as Siyasiza Business Fund has sort of step up to become the knight in shining armor and be the hope of which most businesses have been hoping for. I think that it is after the realization that a lot of businesses, after being given procurement opportunities, both in the private sector and also in government, they lack the immediate or other unencumbered funds to sort of honor the procurement opportunities. It is for that reason that we funded the Siyasiza Business Fund, to sort of come forth and say, guys, we are here, we want to assist you guys, and just so that you guys can fulfill your procurement obligation.
Right. Where does the money come from? The fund obviously needs to have some funds within so that you can distribute those. Yes. Where do those funds come from?
Just funny enough, Rufua, every time I sort of get these sort of engagements, a lot of people sort of think that I'm a millionaire, or there's a lot of funds that's actually sitting there. But funny enough is I have, over the years, built sustainable relationships, and I've made relationships that enabled me to have the access to sort of access the financing.
So there are different stakeholders.
So there's different stakeholders, but currently we are on the road of forging partnership with government. We've been surviving on private investment. There's been people who have been supporting me. My business partner and my mentor has played a significant role. Whenever a need arises for me to source out some sort of finances, business, he's always there to also come in. But also, some of the funds of which we have utilized comes from the Life Legacy Project. Prior to Siyasiza Business Fund, I used to be in enterprise development. So I did a lot of enterprise development work with a lot of blue chips. So over the years, I've managed to save up some of that money to sort of, plan my way to becoming one day a financial provider of some sort to assist and aid SMMEs that have been given or procurement opportunities. So that's where the money comes from.
Right, so, yeah. I mean, the data that I've just showed comes from the Small Enterprise Development Agency.
Yes.
And a lot of the businesses that obviously are included in this particular data will argue that when they do deals or provide services to government agencies, a big issue is that they don't get paid. So sometimes it's not that they don't have funding, it's that they don't get paid on time, and that affects their businesses. I mean, what is your experience in that, having engaged with various businesses who do provide government services?
You know, one thing that I've actually realized is that a lot of business strives on good relationships, right? And it is by the ability of having SMMEs deliver diligently and on time that they manage to retain the relationship of their suppliers, and that, of course, that it also enables them to become sustainable. So I've realized that the biggest challenge that we are facing as SMMEs is a late payment when coming to government, and it cripples you. I mean, my business partner always says it only takes a day for you to miss payment so that everything else can be messed up. So I think that working together with government and making a plea to government to say, guys, as SMEs, we depend on this money. So every time there's sort of a late payment, it also affects us and also the operations of the business. And we think that with proper engagement with government and calling upon government to say, guys, kindly prioritize us as SMEs to ensure that whenever you say you will pay in 30 days, you pay in 30 days. Because us also, as Siyasiza Business Fund, we're not yet a fund that can cater for everybody else. So we're also working on limited funding. So if it gets to a point where we have assisted the FUA on a purchase order and then there's a delay on payment, it also affects 2 or 3 other people that can access the money. So currently we realize that with having proper engagement with government to also stress out that these are challenges that we're facing on a day-to-day basis, and we need them to also come to the table to say, guys, let us see what we can do working forward to ensure that we address these challenges.
Are there specific sectors that you focus on in terms of finding?
Yes, they are. The sectors we focus on is, for now, it's delivery of goods. Previously, when we started, it used to be, the start-off. So any startup that used to come to us and ask for funding, we used to give them. And then we realized that, of course, we've bent our fingers and we've gambled with our people. And then we said, look, let us go back to the drawing board and let us be sector-focused, focusing on people that are in construction. Anything supply and deliver, it's things that we do, and we're very flexible to work around that, because it must also be around a given time of between 30 to 60 days, so that it can also enable us to also operate and help as many businesses as possible.
Very interesting insights there. I've been speaking to Gabriel Mokwana, who's the founder of Siyasiza Fund. Thank you so much for your time this morning. So providing a lending hand to businesses that have obviously been struggling over the last 18 months or so.